Welcome, Patriots, and God bless you. Thank you for being here. And thank God it's Friday, right? I am so tired. That was a little kickback to the old channel right there. If you were here way back in the beginning, you might have remembered that is one of my first openings. So, anyway, yeah, we got a lot to look at tonight, like always, and we're gonna get started before my brain completely shuts off. Let's see where we're starting. I wanted to point out this Q post. I know it's not quite time yet, but I think this is the one that really will be the date, the time, the picture, October 31st. Juan's talked about it a lot of times as far as a big major arrest. And the post for that day is, get the popcorn. Friday and Saturday will deliver on the MAGA promise. POTUS knows he must clean house in order to free up and demonstrate who has authority in order to pass important legislation. For anyone to think POTUS is not in control is kidding themselves. I like that post. I don't know. I had to point that out. And then this, that General Flynn posted today, the left will offer up some form of distraction in the next few days. Steady, everyone. The real Donald Trump administration is doing all it can to do the right thing the right way. Believe it or not, I think it's already happening. I think what they were talking about in the intro there about the missiles from Iran.
So the Supreme Leader of Iran just said that in 30 minutes he will declare a full-scale war against Israel. Right now, the Israeli Air Force has every single fighter jet that it has in the air headed towards Iran as we speak. They said this third wave of attacks will be so more severe than the first two that you could even imagine. So as you can see those red dots, they took out one of the enrichment centers already. They're working on the other two. There's been mass hysteria in Tehran as you speak right now. Many people in Tehran said they see Israeli fighter jets all over the place in the sky. You can see in the video previously I showed you there's no air traffic at all between Israel and Iran. These are the spots up here that they're working on currently. They said this will be a full-scale war until they decimate Iran. Jeremiah 49, starting in verse 34 to 39, Elam's bow is a prophecy that has been made thousands.
And then there was this video.
Iran attacked the US Al Udeid Air Base, located in Qatar. This massive airbase is just 30 kilometers away from Doha, the capital of Qatar. It covers an area of 24 square kilometers. That's about the size of 3,000 football fields. Its runway is 15,000 feet long, which means even large aircraft, planes like the B-2 stealth bomber, can easily land here. Approximately 10,000 American soldiers and around 100 aircraft are stationed at this base. On average, nearly...
Why do I think it's the distraction that General Flynn was talking about? Well, I mean, the Prime Minister of Iran literally just said at the United Nations a couple days ago that they, technically he said nuclear weapons, but, by the tone of his voice, it didn't really sound like they had any plans to do anything. Just a thought. We'll get more into that. There's so much scattered crap today. And my computer was off today. And the judge assigned to the James Comey indictment case, of course, is this Biden-era judge we talked about. And worse than that, I need to bring this up because I forgot to bring it up. This guy has actually worked for James Comey before. Comey served as U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia from 2002 to 2003 after serving as a Deputy Attorney General. Nachmanoff clerked for a judge in the Eastern District of Virginia from 95 to 96 and later worked as an Assistant U.S. Attorney in the same district from 2002 to 2008, meaning he was working in the office while Comey led the office. So... you think that's a bit of a conflict of interest? Maybe this judge needs to recuse himself. Doesn't mean he's gonna recuse himself, but So, yeah, it makes a good point. No wonder Comey's smiling right there. Messed up. There's a lot of good Comey posts yesterday. I think we looked at those, though. He's expected to surrender today, they said, but I don't think it'll be today. Maybe tomorrow.
James Comey's under indictment. 2 counts, lying to Congress and obstruction. He put out a little video and said Trump's a tyrant and he's going to fight, fight, fight. He's actually expected to surrender tomorrow morning to authorities. That just in. James Comey will turn himself in tomorrow to the feds, where he's facing these 2 charges. Ned, what do you think is going to happen next?
Well, I want to state something very clearly. When we say no one is above the law, we actually mean it. It could be the average Joe, or it could be the former director of the FBI. If you lie and obstruct justice, you should actually bear the consequences for it. And that's what they have indicted James Comey on. And my hope is, Jesse, is that they're going to go to John Brennan now, who's also lied under oath to Congress, James Clapper, who also lied under oath to Congress. The thing that I've seen in D.C., and
all I know, as far as I can tell, he hasn't turned himself in yet, but everything you look at said he was supposed to do it this morning. And so there is that. There's more indictments coming. You saw that list they talked about in the intro here, too, with Comey at the top. Of course, they mentioned Andy McCabe, and these are other people to do with Russiagate, like Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and Christopher Steele. A whole long list, and then it gets down into the bigger people like Clinton and Clapper and Brennan, Rod Rosenstein. I like the name at the very bottom here for the fake news. I find that very interesting. Kash Patel put that out prior to taking office, and he's probably right on that. Trump talked about more indictments coming, and Letitia James looks like she might be next.
Mr. President, I'm James Comey. Now that James Comey has been indicted, who is the next person on your list in this retribution?
It's not a list, but I think there'll be others. I mean, they're corrupt.
I think I showed you that in the intro as well. Looking at Letitia James.
The office is expected to charge Tish James, the New York Attorney General, with mortgage fraud. And of course, Donald Trump, we all saw it posted on Truth Social in recent days, exhorting his Attorney General to charge both of those people as soon as possible. Again, you know, this is, grand juries are secret. This is a fluid situation. It's also important to know, though, that the U.S. attorney, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in this office, Eric Siebert, was essentially forced out last week, in part because he was refusing to bring these cases. We're told that he...
I like how these guys talk about Trump directing things, making people do things, and then you go back to the story about Comey and the judge, and none of them are talking about that. Or the Soros story. There's a few stories they're not talking about, and well, fake news media is starting to get, I don't say bad. They've been bad for a long time, but we did talk about Comey's son-in-law yesterday and his conflict of interest, and he resigned today. Funny enough, to uphold my oath to the Constitution and country, I hereby resign as an assistant United States attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. The same place he worked and the judge worked, and that's the son-in-law.
We have a son-in-law of James Comey who had been serving his country in this office, resigning over this. So real impact here, Jeff.
And Trump said something funny.
Are you worried now that the next time there's a Democratic president, they will indict your FBI director or people in your administration?
That's what they tried to do, right? They did it with me. For 4 years, they went after me. They went after me for 4 years, and that doesn't include the 4 great years that we had in the White House. So when I ran it from, 2016, when we won, It began before I got to office. You know that. Wait a minute.
I would have rather heard him say, no, I'm not worried because by the time I leave office, they'll all be in jail. They were asking if he's worried about them coming after him again someday. I hate these reporters. He did talk about James Comey, just about how clear it is that he lied and whatnot. Gateway Pundit says, what? No pre-dawn raid. Disgraced former FBI Director James Comey will be arraigned on October 9th. So there's that little bit of information. Anna Paulina Luna said, this Comey indictment confirms what many Americans have known all along. Even the leaders of our most esteemed institutions have been corrupted to the core. If the FBI director himself was breaking the law, the real question is who else in the Obama and Biden administrations were committing crimes right under our noses. The only way to restore trust in our government is to expose every single one of them and bring them all to justice. We know who they were. They were the Obama administration. And Trump's hitting the pharmaceutical companies, at least the ones not throwing billions and billions and billions of dollars into the country. He announces a 100% tariff on imported drugs starting October 1st, unless the drug maker is building a manufacturing plant in the United States. So I know we've heard GSK and Eli Lilly are so far.
US President Donald Trump has declared a 100% tariff on imported pharmaceutical products, the change kicking in from next week. Live to Federal Politics reporter Emily Saunders. Good morning to you, Emily. This is the tariff the president had been warning was on the way.
Yeah, good morning, Alison. He has, and this morning he's revealed how much he'll be charging, taking to his social media platform Truth.
And the thing is, it's not just pharma.
President Trump announced this new slate of tariffs late yesterday, focused on pharmaceuticals and trucks. He said the U.S. is going to impose a 100% tariff on, quote, any branded or patented pharmaceutical product that's entering the country. That's beginning October 1st. But that will not apply to companies that are building drug manufacturing plants in the U.S. And it also won't apply to projects where construction has already begun. Separately, the president said he's going to impose a 25% tariff on imported heavy trucks, also starting October 1st. And on social media, he said, therefore, our great large truck company manufacturers, such as Peterbilt, Kenworth, Freightliner, Mack Trucks, and others, will be protected from the onslaught of outside interruptions. We need our truckers to be financially healthy and strong for many reasons, but above all else, for national security purposes. Now, the president also cited national security for these new tariffs on kitchen supplies. He posted on social media, we'll be posting a 50% tariff on all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products starting October 1st, 2025. Additionally, we'll be charging a 30% tariff on upholstered furniture.
I guess we have a factory north of here that makes cabinets. So there's that. Those tariffs starting very soon, October 1st. The big one, though, is, of course, the pharmaceutical companies. It's just the start. This story is pretty big today, huh? The FBI bombshell, the documents showing 274 or 5, depends on which article you read, agents, plainclothes agents, in the massive crowds on January 6th, more than 4.5 years ago. Wow. They've been asking about the FBI's level of involvement for years, and the number keeps growing. At some point they gave us a number of like 20-something. Chris Wray lied about this. Merrick Garland lied about this. I think, let's see. Let's look at the first report.
Fox News alert, the Justice Department just released the bombshell report that we've been waiting for. What actually happened on January 6th? The FBI had 26 confidential...
Okay, the first report said 26. Then they talked about Ray Epps.
How many FBI agents actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Ms. Sadburn, who is Ray Epps?
I'm aware of the individual, sir. I don't have the specific background to him.
On January 6th, Mr. Epps is seen whispering to a person, and 5 seconds after he's whispering to a person, that same person begins to forcibly tear down the barricades. Shortly thereafter, the FBI put out a public post seeking information on individuals connected with violent crimes on January 6th.
And I know you remember Ray Epps, this Merrick Garland. I think these guys all get indicted or should be indicted for this particular stuff.
Constitutional duty to do oversight. Now, in that video, that was your answer to a question to me 2 years ago when I said how many agents or assets of the government were present on January 5th and January 6th and agitating in the crowd to go into the Capitol and how many went into the Capitol. Can you answer that now?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, last time, you don't know how many there were or there were none?
I don't know the answer to either of those questions. If there were any, I don't know how many. I don't know whether there are any.
I think you may have just perjured yourself that you don't know that there were any. You want to say that again, that you don't know that there were any?
I have no personal knowledge of this matter. I think what I said the last time.
You've had 2 years to find out.
Oh, they're all going to go to jail eventually. That's the nice thing about it. Anna Paulina Luna also posted this yesterday, getting reports of horrifying organ trafficking in Haiti. People being found dead in the streets. This must stop. People think this is tying into the Clinton Foundation stuff, but I don't know exactly. I haven't had time to research into that one. And people have been talking about this all day, but I'm not so sure if there's something to this or not. This came from a doctor at the hospital, I think. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital. His producer stated that a surgeon who worked on him said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, blah, blah, blah. In Utah, an autopsy is mandatory in cases of murder or assassination if the medical examiner determines it's necessary to establish the cause and manner of death. Let me start here.
I did do the request. They emailed me back. He did not go in for an autopsy. The death certificate was signed by the doctor at the hospital. Okay, can you just do a clip documenting that? I'm sorry, 10-9? Can you just add a step to the case documenting that there was no autopsy? In a month or two when we both forget about it, we can just go and reference that.
287, I'll clear the hospital.
I've also heard this is not true, so I don't want to get caught up in these. I'm starting to get tired of this sensationalist crap, but it's always something new. What's the other one that people are going on about today? I don't even remember. It just keeps going and going and going. We're going to keep going now. Oh, they're just talking about the roofs. The rooftops were the responsibility of the university police, not Charlie Kirk's security. But they coordinated with the university. It's not really news. Moving forward, though, Keir Starmer says their digital ID will be mandatory for their citizens that have the right to work. I know we looked at this yesterday. It's a little bit of the longer out than we thought. The end of the current UK Parliament, no later than August 2029, just in time for their Agenda 2030 plan. People think of this when they think of, a digital ID. That's what people are picturing, basically. The ID will function as a smartphone app containing verifiable personal data, which employers must check against a central system, renting homes, getting jobs. That's what you're facing in the United Kingdom. He says, I know you're worried about the level of illegal migration in this country. It's a measure to make it tougher. Moving forward, though, Trump is going to host Benjamin Netanyahu on September 29th, just a few days away here. A lot of people are not happy with Benjamin Netanyahu, and somebody was pointing out this part of his speech at the UN where he was talking about how on October 7th, the Palestinians were dancing.
This week, the leaders of France, Britain, Australia, Canada, and other countries unconditionally recognized a Palestinian state. They did so after the horrors committed by Hamas on October 7th. Horrors praised on that day by nearly 90% of the Palestinian population. Now, let me say that again. Nearly 90% of Palestinians supported the attack on October 7th.
There's no way of knowing that.
It's not supported only. They celebrated it. They danced on the rooftops. They threw candies.
And that's what you guys did on 9/11. But Trump did say that they have a deal on Gaza. This would be pretty historic if true. And I figured that's what he was working on with these Middle Eastern countries during the UN meeting.
Hello, Peter. And it's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. And we'll let you know. I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal with, it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal. That'll be number 8, Peter. Not bad.
We'll see. We know how these things go. A deal on Gaza, though, would be historic, especially if Trump was the one who orchestrated it all. Of course, this somebody put up, and I don't know if it's true or not, Tony Blair in discussions to run Transitional Gaza Authority. The U.S. is reportedly backing a plan for Tony Blair to lead a temporary international administration in Gaza post-war called the Gaza International Transitional Authority for up to 5 years. It would handle reconstruction, governance, and security, transitioning to a reformed Palestinian Authority for statehood. Not good. I don't think we'd want it in his hands. You might have seen this going around today. This turned out to be a total hoax, and it's so messed up.
I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and we're in Marion County where an Amber Alert remains in place to find a 17-year-old who may have been shot and was then abducted. This is the person deputies are looking for. An Amber Alert has been issued for 17-year-old Caden Spate. He was last seen wearing a T-shirt and blue jeans. Law enforcement believes he may be with 4 unknown, possibly Hispanic men who were driving a light-colored van.
He had texted his mom and said that he had been shot and abducted by 4 Hispanic men or something. They didn't say whether it was a joke or not, but they found him at a friend's house later on. So there's that little hoax. That was everywhere today, this morning. And of course, President Trump met with Pakistan's Prime Minister. I think he's got good things in the works there. We'll get back to that. A blackout was reported at Grand Central Terminal in New York yesterday. interesting.
Kind of amazing that we would be down that.
Been a lot of cybersecurity attacks and concerns for cybersecurity attacks. An earthquake occurred off the coast of Oregon, 5.9. Really not as worrisome as the hurricane problem coming.
At 6:45:29 UTC on September 26, 2025, a magnitude 5.9 earthquake struck 231 kilometers west of Bandon, Oregon. The epicenter was located on the Pacific Plate near the deformation front of the Cascadia subduction zone. No tsunami alert was issued. Depth remains unconfirmed. No damage has been reported.
Yep. So there was that. You probably got a little got rocked awake this morning. We'll get to the hurricanes in a minute. It's a pretty severe situation. Russia dares NATO to shoot its jets down, but again, I don't think it's crossing the borders. Meanwhile, Iran and Russia signed a $25 billion deal to build nuclear plants in Iran, which it seems like they're working on already. Meanwhile, Poland's urging its citizens to immediately leave Belarus by any means necessary over fears of unforeseen risks.
A nuclear earthquake shakes the international scene. Iran and Russia announce a historic agreement to build 8 nuclear power plants in a massive project that will raise Tehran's capacity to 20 gigawatts of nuclear electricity by 2040, according to what was revealed by the head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, Mohammad Eslami. So far, Iran possesses only 1 power plant in Bushehr, a project that...
So at least when they say nuclear plants, they mean power plants. That would sound kind of funny after the United Nations thing. Russia, China, Pakistan, and Iran demand the Taliban to dismantle the terrorist groups from Afghanistan. We will see. Somehow I don't see that being that easy, but it would prevent the U.S. from having to retake Bagram, at least. Josh Reed said that MQ-9B Sea Guardian has the ability with an outfitted ISR platform to perform ASW anti-submarine warfare operations. One of the only reasons you would have such a large U.S. naval presence in that area is to hunt nuclear submarines. Now think the hunt for Red October. F-35s and Reaper drones join a huge U.S. naval fleet patrolling the Caribbean. A lot of people are of the opinion that this meeting that Hegseth's putting together has to do with Venezuela. That's what all the talk has been about, mostly, that I can find. Venezuela is on high alert as our U.S. military deployment is stirring their invasion fears. They're holding disaster preparedness drills this weekend, and they're considering invoking emergency powers, whatever that consists of, for Venezuela. People thought it was interesting that Trump did the enforcing the death penalty laws in D.C. at the same time as the Comey thing. I thought it was interesting. China says the United Nations must terminate membership of Israel for its inhumane actions in Gaza, or inhuman actions. Will that happen? I don't know. A lot of countries are upset, as you could tell by how many people left this, the floor when he started talking.
Please, order in the hall.
All over the world, they're mad at Netanyahu right now. All over the world. So, but will they get kicked out of the UN? I doubt it. Leo Terrell said, haters, you're witnessing an example of anti-Semitism. I thought that was hilarious. You anti-Semites. This hurricane situation's bad, and the governor of South Carolina is already declaring a national emergency. The similarities to Helene are troubling. The latest trend is far more than 1 to 2 feet of rainfall from what will likely become Hurricane Imelda as it strikes North Carolina early next week. Please prepare now and pray it doesn't happen. You've had Gabrielle that went the other way, then Humberto and Imelda is what this one's looking like it's going to be.
So let's see where we sit this morning. Again, this is a scenario and a setup where we're going to see a lot of changes. So this is the first weekend, tropically speaking, that you have to be on top of it if you live in the southeast. We still have an invest, so again, that's an area of interest. We don't have a storm just yet, but we are anticipating this turning into a tropical depression somewhere over the Bahamas this weekend. Because right now, this tropical wave's over Haiti and the Dominican. So it's being chunked apart because we do have very, very tall mountains on Hispaniola.
Yeah, and we're literally talking over 10,000-foot mountains that are ripping and tearing the storm apart. But the moment it moves to the north of that, and then, of course, over the Bahamas, and if you've ever been to the Bahamas, it's not like there's huge 10,000-foot mountains. It's super flat, so this is really going to get its act together, organize into an area of low pressure, and then move up toward the north. And this is where things start to get a little interesting because there's a kind of a fork in the road that can happen between our forecast models.
Yeah, once we get to, I would say, Sunday night, the drastic difference of possibilities is still present. So that's why you got to be ready to go.
This was a good graphic showing you what might occur. Looks like Humberto might just give Imelda a little push there on into the Carolina area, and a lot of water could inundate that region again. And then Humberto will continue up the coast, I'm assuming. That's one scenario, but multiple scenarios could happen, but either one doesn't look that great right now for the Carolina area, the coast. I don't know. If I lived in that region, I'd be ready. Antiva obviously is calling for further attacks on ICE facilities. I think you guys know and aware of that, so gonna move through that. These guys are who you need to worry about. Somebody posted this, and I believe this was the day of the Charlie Kirk Memorial. Yeah. And for a brief moment, Air Force One's call sign went to Elvis 11. And then it went back to Air Force One. Thought that was interesting. Maybe Elvis was on the plane. I don't know. And I think, I don't know if Derek Johnson or somebody pointed that out. What is this mess of stuff? I think Captain Kyle shared this. Based on 2 decades of covering the FBI Justice Department, thin indictment suggests a holding charge with the potential of a more complex superseding indictment that adds more charges. This is not only possible but plausible in Comey's case based on the recently declassified FBI leak investigations via Kash Patel, codenamed Arctic Haze. The Arctic Haze records reveal several FBI senior leaders and Columbia law professor Daniel Richman said they coordinated media leaks at Comey's discretion. And the circled part there, you probably can't read, is Comey and Obama instructing them not to cover certain things about this Russiagate stuff. Let me see if I can make that one bigger. Something like that. Might be a different document I've got, but so he's just telling you might see more charges added in Comey's situation. ICE is hiring still, and they're particularly looking for people with law experience, principal legal advisor type stuff. The legal division at ICE. So thought I'd throw that out there. Federal agents have been clashing for days now, probably a week at least, with protesters in Chicago outside of this particular station.
And this morning, more protesters. They are expected at an ICE facility in suburban Chicago. Now, this comes as violence against ICE officers, facilities, and protesters has been on the rise. This video shows a pickup truck hitting a demonstrator at the detention center in Broadview, Illinois. This is just hours after that deadly sniper attack at an ICE field office in Dallas. News Nation's Alex Capriello is outside of that ICE facility in Broadview. Alex, good morning. So we're seeing a bit of it here, but
there's still been a lot of that going on in the Portland area as well. And the Tennessee governor says his state's preparing for more federal agents to combat crime in Memphis. So I think that's sort of getting ready to pop off. Billionaire Soros ally Howard Rubin and his assistant Jennifer Powers were arrested for commercial sex trafficking, torturing women in secret penthouse sex dungeon, and silencing them with NDAs. Howard Rubin, ex-New York City financier with ties to George Soros. That's him there.
Breaking news, Contessa. Money manager Howard Rubin has been arrested in Connecticut on federal charges of sex trafficking women. A 10-count indictment charges Rubin and his longtime personal assistant Jennifer Powers with recruiting, coercing, and forcing women for commercial sex acts, transporting the women in interstate commerce. The Department of Justice says Rubin took those women to a Manhattan penthouse apartment that had been converted to a sex dungeon, also to luxury hotels, and then tortured women beyond their consent, including electrocution. It's a fairly detailed prosecution claim here. Prosecutors say the pair forced those victims then to sign non-disclosure agreements that put financial consequences on them if they told. Rubin's charged with bank fraud connected to financing his assistant's Texas mortgage. Now, sex trafficking convictions could carry a life sentence here. Rubin also was sued in 2017 by 3 models who say that he raped them and was ordered to pay millions of dollars for that. Rubin had worked for many Wall Street firms, including Salomon Brothers, Bear Stearns, Merrill Lynch, and also for George Soros. So we're just getting those details right now from the Department of Justice, and we'll continue to pursue more information, Carl.
So that's a pretty interesting story. I'd never personally heard of the guy before, but I have a feeling we will hear a lot more about him in the coming days. Internal records show that Johnson & Johnson Tylenol maker privately admitted evidence was getting heavy for autism risk in 2018, and doctors were warning about it as early as 2008. Interesting. Doctors were warning Johnson & Johnson as early as 2008. Uh-oh, Tylenol. Seems like you knew a thing or two, didn't you? And Trump posted this today. Pregnant women, don't use Tylenol unless absolutely necessary. Don't give it to your young children for virtually any reason. Break up the MMR shot into 3 totally separate shots, not mixed. Take chickenpox separately. Take hepatitis B shot at 12 years old or older. And importantly, take vaccine in 5 separate medical visits. He spelled hepatitis wrong. No, he didn't. Did he? I don't remember. He did spell it wrong. It's IS, not AS. Now I have to see why he did that. Let's see if he might have been trying to tell us something. My computer's moving slow today. Come on. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Okay, it's moving really slow. There we go. Rapture, Ascension, Evergreen. Judgment, Michelle Obama. The Event, ICU, Patriot, New Moon, Illinois, Bank of America, Albert Pike, Pale Horse. I don't see what the message would be there. Maybe he just doesn't know how to spell hepatitis. The Trump administration's cracking down on trucking licenses for foreign drivers, or people that don't earn the license.
We have launched a nationwide audit of non-domiciled CDLs to get to the bottom of what we think is causing this crisis. We've heard from truckers and safety advocates and news reports that something was seriously wrong. It was alleged that the open border policies of the last administration has led to an exploitation of our nation's trucking licensing system. So today, I'm here to tell you after our audit that those reports, they're all true. What our audit has already discovered should anger every single American. So here's what we've learned. We just want to walk through it. First, our audit revealed a systemic breakdown among states to follow the law and issue licenses properly. States are failing to follow even the most basic procedures. We even uncovered widespread procedural errors, computer programming flaws, and a gross lack of oversight in the states that issue CDLs.
Yeah, that's been happening in Illinois for a long time. I think that's part of why George H. Ryan went to prison. Maybe. It's hard telling. So, Elon Musk is the new target of the Epstein stuff. Isn't that ironic? All the stuff he did to point out Trump, and now he's getting pointed. Elon Musk allegedly planned to visit Epstein Island, according to bombshell documents. Documents released by Democrats sitting on the House Oversight Committee showed Musk is listed in the documents as being a potential visitor to Little St. James on December 6th of 2014. His name appears on what appears to be Epstein's daily schedule, with the entry saying, "Reminder, Elon Musk to Island December 6th. Is this still happening? So interesting. A good reason for the left to get stirred now. It went from Trump to Musk. It says Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, and Prince Andrew are named in the new files released by Democrats that relate to Jeffrey Epstein. Dun, 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 dun. Musk listed in the documents as being a potential visitor. Yet in June, he indicated Trump should be impeached and claimed his administration was concealing information about it. It is pretty interesting, isn't it? What do you think they got up their sleeve?
Remind everybody the emails that Bloomberg got access to and what you guys have been going through.
Yeah, that's right. It's been one of the highlights of my 20 years in journalism to be a part of this team with Surya Matu and Jason Leopold and Ava Benny Morris and many others. So, Epstein, who remains so profoundly central to the public imagination and yet such a profound enigma, Bloomberg News obtained, thousands, more than 10,000, more than 18,000 emails. And I want to be clear, these are private emails. These aren't things that have been recycled through. It's not things everyone knows about. This is new stuff, and it's from a private email address. Actually, for example, there was one email where someone says, "Listen, I need
to understand the House Oversight Committee got the documents from Bloomberg." That doesn't sound fishy at all. ICE arrested Des Moines School Superintendent Ian Roberts on immigration violation and gun allegations. And people want to know how an illegal alien from Guyana with a final order of removal issued by a judge was able to become the superintendent.
We're breaking into programming right now to bring you breaking news. Des Moines Public School Superintendent Dr. Ian Roberts has been detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The school board issued a statement this afternoon saying they have not confirmed why Dr. Roberts is being detained or the potential next steps. While it is not clear if this is connected to the scene at Easter Lake earlier this morning that KCCI told you about, we are working to confirm that. Iowa State Patrol and a Des Moines Public Schools safety officer were also at the scene. Iowa State Patrol says they were pulling evidence out of a car that you just saw in the video there. We saw them pull a firearm.
You want to say, well, they're only supposed to be going after the violent ones, but, I mean, he did have some weapons. Doesn't mean he's violent, but I don't know. It's a weird situation. This was from SGNON. A new investigative report alleges that illegitimate Ukrainian President Zelensky is allowing the bodies of fallen soldiers to be dissolved in acid in efforts to shield the real casualty count from the Ukrainian population and the world. I wanted to read this article to you, and I will bring it up so you can see it. Zelensky disposes of soldiers' bodies to mislead families and downplay losses. Zelensky's administration has developed and implemented a system for the disposal of the bodies of fallen armed forces of Ukraine servicemen. The process reportedly involves the use of sulfuric acid, pig farms, and industrial shredders to conceal the true scale of casualties, avoid paying compensation to families, and manipulate public perception. A source within the office of the President of Ukraine claims that the operation to eliminate remains is being carried out by the Security Service of Ukraine under the discretion or the direction of Vasyl Milyuk, with the involvement of the Ministry of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine. Since January of 2024, the Foundation to Battle Injustice has recorded over 300 appeals from relatives of armed forces of Ukraine personnel reported missing in action. According to the applicants, there is a complete lack of information about the fate of their loved ones. Despite multiple inquiries submitted to the Ukrainian military and government institution, the appeals contain similar details. The servicemen stop communicating, their status is marked as missing, and later they disappear entirely from official records. Families receive neither the bodies nor official notifications nor the compensation guaranteed under Ukrainian law. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Bet you didn't see that one coming. Could that be? It wouldn't surprise me. Really wouldn't surprise me. It's just disgusting. People are going on about how Charlie Kirk's wife has been acting in public, saying that they would think that she would have to be sedated and hardly able to get out of bed, and they're wondering why she was laughing the other day on the show. And I don't know, I didn't see the episode, and everybody's different in that regard. I think she's trying to keep his work going, so I wouldn't read into it too much. They did not really say much about these new details. Let me see if I can find this article again. Probably help to have the article. But again, a lot of people are leaning towards this stuff to do with Venezuela as being the cause. I was kind of hoping it would be something else, but let's see here. I think I found it. I have not, I mean, he's bringing in troops from as far away as South Korea, Japan, Middle East. I don't know. I'm not sure what this is about. This was the latest video.
This morning, hundreds of admirals and generals are leaving their posts from airfields, at sea, and at tactical headquarters around the world. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth summoning all U.S. general officers and admirals in command positions and senior enlisted leaders to a meeting at the U.S. Marine Corps base in Quantico, Virginia. But even those told to attend the meeting do not know what prompted Hegseth's call and what will be discussed. The Pentagon saying only the Secretary of War will be addressing his senior military leaders early next week. President Trump was asked about the meeting, but perhaps misunderstanding the question or unaware of the Hegseth meeting, he seemed to think it was foreign generals who were coming to meet Hegseth.
Well, I know. I love it. I mean, I think it's great. Let him be friendly. Let him be friendly with the generals and admirals from all over the world. Why? Is there something? No, but is there something wrong with it?
Vice President Vance stepping in.
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War.
But there has not been a meeting quite like this one, and it has created apprehension among senior officers. Last May, Hegseth ordering at least a 20% reduction in the number of four-star generals and admirals across the active duty force.
It's in keeping with President Trump's commitment to achieving peace through strength. We're going to shift resources from bloated headquarters elements to our warfighters.
The secretary has already fired at least 15 senior military officers, including General C.Q. Brown, the then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the first woman to command the Navy, Admiral Lisa Franchetti, also let go. While the topic of the meeting remains a mystery, given what President Trump and J.D. Vance said about it, it does not appear to be an urgent national security matter. But having this many senior officers away from their post does create concern among some. Rebecca?
I don't believe it's anything to be concerned about. More excited than anything. So, that covers our news. I have a video that I wanted to show you guys yesterday from Bob Kraft. It's like 9 minutes, but it's interesting. He's got a good point of view on things.
What's up, everybody? So, some people have asked me to talk about some recent events that have happened with Trump, specifically what happened in England or in Britain, and obviously yesterday with Trump speaking at the United Nations. So I'm gonna try and touch on this, my opinion as to what I saw. First of all, America is a kingdom, okay? And I know that no one's ever said that before. To have a kingdom, you have to be recognized by a king, okay? So, and I've said this before. So, America is a kingdom, nation. United States is a nation state, okay? So why is there a crossover between kingdom and nation? Well, there's a crossover because in our U.S. Constitution, our Constitution for the United States of America, so the Constitution of America for the United States of America. That's really what it should say in all of its words. Okay? So America's a kingdom. Why is America a kingdom? America's a kingdom because kingdoms exist. And kingdoms operate in a jurisdiction. Okay? When you say king, now there's different types of kings. If you go to Plato's Republic, King Archon, all the kings were archons. Whoever was chosen as king was the archon. Okay? That's what it was. That is not a heretical king. And we've been trained into this mindset that we've been programmed into heretical authority. Okay? America is a nation of immigrants, a kingdom of immigrants. That means you have to be worthy to be an American, right? You have to be worthy by deed. You will be judged on your works, right? Does that sound familiar? Revelations? Okay? And then you get to enter the kingdom. All right? Now, when I say kingdom, remember, I'm just saying it's a jurisdiction. It's just a jurisdiction. It is a jurisdiction over the world, right? The king's and his armies. Armies operate at the head of the king. So the king assembles the army. Okay? So that's that jurisdiction. So what you saw was what I saw, not what you saw. I don't know what you saw. I'm not you. I didn't live your world. I don't live in your life. Okay? I know what I see. That's my opinion. So what I opined, in my opinion, is I saw a transfer of the army, okay, the military, to the king over the world. Now you're going to say, well, Trump's not king. No. You don't understand. Trump, in that capacity, is the American president. The American president is the president of the United States of America, commander-in-chief. Okay? That's what you saw. You saw the transfer of military power from Britain to America. Why did you see that? Well, number one, the U.S. president is already the supreme commander of NATO. Number one. Number two, America is the richest nation in the world. We have a $150 trillion trust, and we have just put together our domestic assets and our domestic trust to call in the debts of our debts, our U.S. debt, right? So the U.S. debt. everyone thinks that the American people owe the debt to the world. They don't owe the debt to the world. The American people are the beneficiaries of the debt. The powers over the world owe the debt to the American people. So $37 trillion is owed to America. But we did not have a domestic trust, nor do we have our kingdom nation established to be able to hold that. What they were trying to do, that's why they called it the debt ceiling, what they were trying to do is get the debt high enough to supersede our $150 trillion trust. If the debt had gone over 50%, we would have become insolvent, and they could have dissolved the United States and America. That's what our congressmen and those people, that's what they were trying to do. That's why they were spending so much money. That's why they were trying to get rid of money as fast as they could. What they didn't know was that the more you spend, the faster our trust climbs, because the Department of Ways and Means takes its cut. All debts must be payable, instantaneous. That's what the Department of Ways and Means does. That's why Hamilton put the Department of Ways and Means in. So no matter how much they spent, they could never get to the amount that would match the trust to make America insolvent, because everything was owned by the people. Okay? Does that make sense? So that debt is now owed. So all those countries of the world we went and fought their wars, we went and did this, they were taking out promissory notes on our trust. We were lending them, because we were the richest in the world. We were lending them that money, and now those bonds can be called in. So $37 trillion, whatever it is owed to the American people, because they are the beneficiaries of the trust. They are the kingdom nation of the American Republic. That's what's happened. So now, not only owed $150 trillion in our trust that now is coming back, we are owed $37 trillion by countries that borrowed that money, that we went and fought their wars. We worked for them. Okay, we worked for Britain. We fought Britain's wars. We are the most powerful military nation in the world. That's how this happened, right? And this is the structure of global law. So it's not like, oh, you can just blow it off like, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter. It absolutely does matter. Okay? So that was the transfer of the military to our sitting commander-in-chief. Okay? That's what you saw. Who in that capacity is in the capacity of our quote-unquote king. All right? Our American president. We don't call him king, we call him American president. Okay? And that's why he said, I'm happy that I'm the first American president. He is the first American president because there's only 4 other American presidents. There were only 4 American presidents before the American Republic fell in 1814. You had Washington, Adams, who's my great-great-great-great-grandfather, Jefferson, and Madison. War of 1812, over. A new country was established called West Florida. It was authorized by the Pope, and it was authorized by King Ferdinand to be the subsequent kingdom superseding the American Republic, because they destroyed it. Burr, John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson were the insiders, and James Monroe. Okay? And that's how the Monroe Doctrine took the whole entire Western Hemisphere. So that's what happened. All right? So I'm gonna take the last minute. I'm gonna talk about the United Nations speech. Number 1, we are going through a cleansing process of, if you have no value, we don't need you. We're not like, you're going away. USAID, garbage, throw it away. Okay? United Nations is a waste. United Nations is a waste because it was originally founded by Andrew Carnegie as the League of Nations. Okay? So they're either going to get their shit together, or we're not paying them, we're not funding them, we're not doing shit, they can go away. They can go back to the League of Nations in the new jurisdiction, or they can be dissolved, And if we have to, we'll set up a league of extraordinary peasants for the world, for the people of the world. And over the world, for the people over the world. All right? The League of Extraordinary Peasants. I like it. I like it. And you can get rid of all that garbage. If the American president is going to go around putting 7 wars, okay, and he's going to do what that body's supposed to do, then that body doesn't need to exist. Goodbye. Alter or abolish. All right? God bless. Godspeed.
So, I assume if that money's owed to us, they talked about the next move the White House made would be amazing. It would be nice if it had something to do with all that, right? So anyway, folks, there is a kind of an off channel on Rumble that